Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. La lección de hoy es Unreal Situations, situaciones no reales, usando sí más el pasado de subjuntivo, utilizing C plus the past subjunctive. Past subjunctive is verb number 9. How do we form the past subjunctive? You take the ellos form of the preterite. Every time, no exception, you change that final O to an A, and that gives you the ellos, ellas, ustedes form of the past subjunctive. To get to the yo form, just take the N off, and then if you want to get to the to form, just take the yo form and put an S on it. The el, ella is the same as the yo form, and then the we form we know would be just the MOS, right? So let's try it out here. Let's try a practice verb, comer. It's comieron. The past subjunctive would be comiera, comieras, comiera, comiéramos, and comieran. Take a Y verb, leyeron, L-E-Y-E-R-O-N. It would be leyera with a Y-E-R-A. Leyera, leyeras, leyera, leyéramos, leyeran. Take the verb ir, the verb ser. The ellos form is fueron. Change that O to an A, gives you fueran. Drop the N. Fuera, fueras, fuera, fuéramos, fueran. Remember, the we form has that accent mark. Let's take another verb. Let's take a J verb like traer. Trajeron, with a J-E-R-O-N would be trajera, trajeras, trajera, trajeramos, trajeran. So that's how we conjugate in the past subjunctive, verb number 9. There is no exception. Take the ellos form of the preterite, change the final O to an A, and you have the past subjunctive. Drop the N, you have the O form, and conjugate it all the way through. Now, all of these that we have here, we're going to start with if, si. But you could put a solo, the word solo, only, if only. For example, if I could, si pudiera, we're going to take the second part of these sentences, perhaps in the next lesson. For example, if I could, I would go. Si pudiera, iría. These are paired up with a conditional, verb number 7, very often. But we're going to look at that in the next lesson. And by the way, we have touched upon unreal situations before. This is a more in-depth look at unreal situations with verb number 9, the past subjunctive. If I could, si pudiera, it's like the beginning of a sentence. If I could, I would go, or I would go if I could. Iría si pudiera. If you just want to kind of wish out loud and say, if only I could go. Solo si pudiera ir. If only I could. Solo si pudiera. If it hadn't rained. Okay, all of these verbs that come after if are past subjunctive. Well, this is the verb haber. It's the auxiliary verb, H-A-B-E-R. And we know rained is the ED, so that's verb number 2. That's a llovido. Llovido. So what do we have here? If it hadn't rained, si no hubiera llovido. For example, if it had not rained, we would have played. Si no hubiera llovido, habríamos jugado. If I knew, the verb saber. If I knew, si supiera, supiera, si supiera, or si lo supiera. If I knew, si lo supiera, or si supiera. If I had known, saber, if I had known. We're talking about knowing a fact or something, right? Information. Si hubiera sabido. If I had, with the past participle, it's always going to be hubiera. You learn that quickly. Si hubiera sabido. Now, if you want to say, if I had known her, then it would be the verb conocer, and we'd have to insert the la. Si la hubiera conocido. If I had known him, si lo hubiera conocido. If it weren't raining. Well, we know raining is lloviendo, that's a 1. If it weren't, well, estar. We know that the ing is almost always paired up with the verb estar. So what is the past subjunctive of estar? Okay, the preterite estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvieron. Change that O to an A, estuvieran. If it weren't raining, si no estuviera lloviendo. Perhaps if it weren't raining, we would be playing. Si no estuviera lloviendo, estaríamos jugando. All right, that is cluster number 1. Let's go to cluster number 2. Remember, we are cluster busters. In all this, the verb number 9, past subjunctive, it is in the language learning module. We're just reaching back in there. If it weren't so cold. Well, to be cold is hacer frío, H-A-C-E-R. If it weren't. So what's the past subjunctive of hacer? Go to hicieron, drop the N, and change the O to A, and you have hiciera. That's it. Si no hiciera, so cold. If it weren't so cold. Literally, if it didn't make so much cold. Si no hiciera tanto frío. If you were here, the verb estar in the past subjunctive, estuvieron, change the O to A. Si tú estuvieras aquí, or si usted estuviera aquí. If it didn't cost so much. Costar is to cost, past subjunctive, easy. Costaron, change the O to A, you got it. Si no costara tanto. If I had gone. Ir is to go. What's the past participle, verb number 2 of to go? Ido, I-D-O, ido. If I had gone, si yo hubiera ido. I'm using the yo for clarification. If you had called, the verb llamar, llamar. Well, we know called, ed, is the past participle, verb number 2, that's llamado. If you had called, si hubieras, with an as, si hubieras llamado. If they knew, oh boy, if they knew, if they only knew. Saber, just like up here, somewhere here. If they knew, si supieran. If you want to say if only they knew. Solo si supieran. Woo-wee! Solo si supieran. Okay, that's cluster number 2. Let's look at cluster number 3. If I had more time, I don't have more time. It's a contrary to fact. It's an unreal situation. Tener. If I had more time, si tuviera más tiempo. If he didn't lie, the verb mentir is to lie, and it's going to be an E to I stem change. So if he did not lie would be si él no mintiera, M-I-N-T, mintiera. If they had helped, ayudar. Knock, knock, ayudar. If they had helped, si hubieran ayudado, si hubieran ayudado. If the dog didn't bark so much, ladrar, ladrar. Si el perro no ladrara tanto. If it were snowing, like right now, oh my gosh, I would be so happy. Estaría tan feliz. Estaría muy alegre, muy contento. If it were snowing. Si snowing is nevando, we know that INGs almost always go with the star, so we need a star here. If it were snowing. Si estuviera nevando. If only it were snowing. Solo si estuviera nevando. Si solo estuviera nevando. I prefer solo si estuviera nevando. If we had won. Ay, ay, ay. Ganar. How many times do we say that about our favorite teams? Si hubiéramos ganado. If we had won. I'm trying to be tricky here. If we had won with a W-O-N, like a game, a competition, si hubiéramos ganado. This is if we had one. We don't have one, like a hoe to dig out the weeds, right? If we had one, that would be si tuviéramos uno. Si tuviéramos uno. If I weren't sick, estar enfermo. For ladies, enferma. If I weren't sick, si yo no estuviera enfermo or enferma. So there you go. Let's look at our past subjunctive verbs. Pudiera, hubiera llovido, supiera, hubiera sabido. This is hubiera llovido, supiera, hubiera sabido, estuviera lloviendo. Here, hiciera tanto frío, estuvieras, costara, hubiera ido, hubieras llamado, supieran, tuviera, mintiera, hubieran ayudado, ladrara, estuviera nevando, hubiéramos ganado, tuviéramos uno, and then finally, estuviera enfermo or enferma. So we used verb number 9 for unreal situations. We also call them contrary to fact situations. A lot of times you can just put a solo in front of these and just kind of wish out loud. So like, if only it weren't so cold. Solo si no hiciera tanto frío. If only you were here, mi amor, te quiero, te extraño, te necesito. If only you were here. Solo si estuvieras aquí, mi cariño, mi amor. Dang it. If only we had won. Solo si hubiéramos ganado. Now, we're going to find out that you use these in a two-part sentence. You say an if clause, if something, then something else would happen or would have happened or would be happening. For example, if it were snowing, where is that? Right here. Si estuviera nevando, we would be skiing. Estaríamos esquiando. So we're going to find out again that verb number 9 a lot of times pairs up with verb number 7. So we'll talk about those sentences upcoming in a lesson soon. Ok, es todo por ahora. Mickey Mouse manda saludos desde Disneylandia y Disneymundo. Ok, es todo por ahora. Tengan ustedes otro gran día. Duerman lo suficiente, coman bien, tomen su agua, sean buenas personas, celebren todo lo bueno del mundo y disfruten de cada momento de cada día. Les mando besitos y cariños, los quiero mucho, cuídense. Hasta la próxima lección. Bye bye.